Have you ever felt it? You know that gut-wrenching lurch?
Mm-hmm.
When a car just aggressively cuts you off in traffic? Or maybe that slow burn, that simmering frustration?
Right, when things just don't quite go your way. A project, maybe?
Exactly, like a critical project deadline is looming and some crucial piece of the puzzle just falls apart. We all know that feeling.
That surge of irritation, yeah. Or
Yeah.
sometimes it's deeper, full-blown anger.
Yeah, that feeling of being bothered, maybe even consumed by it. It's a universal human experience, definitely part of the emotional tapestry of life.
It really is.
But here's the thing, the profound truth we're going to explore today. It doesn't actually have to control you.
That's the key insight.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we plunge into complex ideas, we sort of dissect them and distill them into actionable insights specifically for you.
And today should be really useful.
Oh yeah. Today we're embarking on a truly crucial journey. A deep dive into mastering calm, overcoming anger and annoyance. We've unearthed some incredibly practical, yet profoundly insightful nuggets from sources that promise to show us how to never get angry or bothered by people.
Which sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it?
It does. And let's be honest, in today's fast-paced, often chaotic world, who among us wouldn't want a little more of that serene control in our lives?
Exactly. Our mission today is to go far beyond just, acknowledging what anger is.
Yeah.
We want to really unpack why it arises in us.
Get to the roots.
Precisely, tracing its roots to how our minds and bodies actually work. But even more importantly, our core aim is to equip you, the listener, with concrete strategies.
Practical tools.
Yes, strategies informed by, how our brains work to navigate those really challenging emotional landscapes.
And this isn't about just stuffing it down, is it? Suppressing emotions.
No, definitely not. That can be unhealthy, really unsustainable long term. Instead, we're looking for that, let's say, shortcut to genuine inner peace.
I like the sound of that.
Offering you practical tools to profoundly transform those automatic reactions and reclaim a deep, abiding calm.
So understanding where it comes from.
Understanding it at its source, and then consciously choosing a more constructive, more empowering path forward.
Okay, let's really unpack this then. Our exploration makes a crucial point right from the very start, a foundational truth, really. Anger rarely originates from the outside events themselves. It overwhelmingly stems from how our mind reacts to those events.
That's such a critical distinction. It's internal.
Right. It's not the traffic jam or the missed deadline or, the rude comment that makes us angry. It's our internal processing, our interpretation.
Our deeply ingrained interpretation of what's happening.
Exactly. So if this powerful emotion is born within us, what are these intricate internal mechanisms, these mental and emotional triggers?
What actually flips that switch?
Yeah, what flips the switch that so consistently leads us to that familiar, often unwelcome flash of anger? Hashtag 1.1, the frustration of unmet expectations. Okay, the first one, and maybe the most common cause. It's profoundly impactful, but also deceptively simple. Unmet expectations.
Ah, yes. This one is huge.
Think about it for a moment. From the minute we wake up, we navigate life with this vast, often unconscious script, right?
A mental blueprint.
Yeah. This script dictates how people should behave, how situations should unfold, how the world should operate. We carry these invisible blueprints everywhere.
We really do, and often don't even realize it.
So when reality deviates from that meticulously crafted script, even just slightly, a subtle frustration immediately starts to build.
That little niggle of, this isn't right.
Exactly. And if that frustration isn't acknowledged or addressed, it can very quickly morph into, outright anger.
It escalates fast.
We hold these often rigid, self-constructed ideas, and when the world doesn't conform, when our internal blueprint gets shattered, we experience this jarring jolt.
And what's truly fascinating here is the sheer depth and pervasiveness of these expectations.
Yeah.
They're not just fleeting thoughts.
Oh, they feel fundamental.
They are deeply ingrained, often stemming from our core personal values, our beliefs about right and wrong, important, trivial.
And our upbringing, surely, cultural norms.
Absolutely. Cultural norms we've absorbed since childhood, and of course, every single past experience that has taught us how things are supposed to be.
So we project all this onto others.
We project these intricate frameworks onto others, onto situations, onto the world itself, often without even knowing we're doing it.
Right.
So when people don't act as we expect, maybe their punctuality, their honesty, the effort they put in, or just basic respect,
Yeah.
Our carefully constructed sense of order is completely disrupted.
It feels personal somehow.
It does. It's not just a minor letdown. It can escalate into feeling personally offended, like a boundary's been crossed.
Even if that boundary was unspoken.
Exactly. This goes beyond simple disappointment. It's about a perceived breach of an unspoken, often unacknowledged social contract we think we have with the world.
Wow, so that feeling of betrayal.
That feeling of betrayal, however minor or even imagined it might be, becomes an incredibly potent anger trigger. It challenges our very sense of predictability and safety.
I hear that, and it's so true. But how do we balance this idea of lowering expectations with still having, healthy boundaries? Or advocating for what we actually need?
That's a really crucial distinction, a very important question.
Because it feels like a very fine line, doesn't it, between acceptance and just letting people walk all over you, enabling bad behavior.
It can seem that way.
Yeah.
But lowering expectations isn't about becoming a doormat or abandoning your personal standards altogether, not at all.
Okay.
Instead, it's about shifting your reaction when those standards aren't met by others. It's recognizing that you primarily control your response, but rarely the other person's behavior.
So you can still have the standard.
Yes. For instance, you can still expect a friend to be on time for dinner. You can absolutely communicate that expectation.
And set a boundary if they keep being late.
Exactly. Maybe you start eating without them after 15 minutes, or you choose meeting spots where timing is less critical. The anger often comes from the frustration that they should be on time, not just the objective fact that they are late.
Yeah, the internal should.
Precisely. It's about detaching your internal peace from their adherence to your personal rulebook. You maintain your standards, your boundaries, but you don't let their actions dictate your inner turmoil.
Okay, so it's an internal shift, not necessarily changing what you ask for externally.
Exactly. It's not an external compromise on your needs, but an internal adjustment to how you react when those needs aren't met by others' actions.
That makes perfect sense. So it's about accepting human fallibility in advance, maybe, rather than being constantly surprised and offended by it.
That's a great way to put it. Anticipating imperfection.
Like expecting a colleague might miss a critical deadline you were absolutely relying on. That initial flicker of annoyance, it escalates when you believe they should have done better, right? But if you anticipate the possibility of human error, maybe the impact lessens, you still feel the unfairness, maybe address it professionally.
But the anger doesn't take such a deep hold. It feels less like a personal slight aimed at you and more like an unfortunate, perhaps even predictable human occurrence.
Less personal, less anger. Got it. Hashtag 1.2. The sting of ego clash. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Diving deep into our psychological defenses. Ego clash.
The ego. Always a factor.
Our sources highlight that when someone insults us, dismisses our presence, or disagrees with us in a way that feels, demeaning, our ego, that delicate and fiercely protected sense of self-worth, feels directly attacked. It's not just a minor annoyance, it's like a direct hit to our internal command center.
The alarms definitely start blaring.
Yeah. But when our sources talk about ego, what exactly are we referring to? Is it just simple pride, or is there something much deeper going on?
That's a crucial clarification. It's far more profound than just everyday pride. Think of the ego as our psychological self-identity.
The story we tell ourselves.
Exactly. The intricate narrative we construct about who we are, what we're good at, our value, our place in the world. It's the story we tell ourselves about ourselves.
Okay.
So when that narrative is challenged, maybe by a direct insult, questioning our intelligence, or by being completely overlooked in a group, ignored.
Or having your ideas just shot down.
Right, having your carefully considered ideas summarily dismissed, it feels like an attack on our very foundation, our sense of self.
And that triggers a big response.
It triggers a powerful, often automatic defensive response. This is rooted deeply in our limbic system, our more primitive emotional brain.
So anger comes in to protect.
Anger, in this context, can absolutely manifest as a protective mechanism. It's an instinctive way to assert ourselves, maybe reestablish our perceived value or dominance, or simply defend the integrity of our self-story.
Even if it's an overreaction.
Even if, upon reflection, it's a total overreaction or a counterproductive outburst. In that split second, it's driven by a deep-seated need to protect our sense of self.
So it's less about what actually happened.
Often, yes. It's often less about the objective reality of the interaction and much more about our subjective interpretation of its impact on our self-worth, on who we believe ourselves to be in that specific moment.
That resonates so deeply. Imagine working tirelessly on a presentation, right? Like meticulously crafting your arguments.
Pouring yourself into it.
Only for someone in the meeting to just casually dismiss your opinion with a wave of their hand, like it was nothing. Or even worse, laugh at it.
Oof. Yeah, that stings.
Or you go above and beyond for a client, putting in extra hours, real effort, and you get back a curt, unappreciative response. Or maybe nothing at all.
Just silence. Yeah.
That feeling of being devalued, of your efforts or contributions being rendered invisible or worthless, that can instantly ignite a powerful current of anger.
It feels like a profound personal affront, a direct challenge to your competence, your value.
And that's when the ego really screams for protection. It makes sense. Hashtag 1.3, the illusion of control. And sometimes the frustration isn't about other people at all, but about life just throwing a curveball, right?
Right.
Which leads us directly to our next trigger. That profound sense of lack of control.
Ah, yes. The classic trigger. So common.
This is a big one for many of us, I think. When things just don't go according to our carefully laid plans. When circumstances derail our intentions in unexpected ways, we can feel this intense sense of helplessness.
Powerlessness.
Yeah, and often that feeling of being powerless in a situation, of not being able to dictate the outcome, that's exactly when anger arises. It's like our brain is screaming, this isn't right, I should be able to fix this, to control this.
It really does tap into something deep. This point profoundly resonates with our inherent human desire for agency, for predictability.
We like to feel in charge.
We do. From the moment we wake up, we're constantly planning, strategizing, envisioning specific outcomes for our day, our projects, our lives. We have this innate craving for a sense of mastery over our environment and our story.
So when things go off script.
When external circumstances, or maybe the unpredictable actions of other people, fundamentally derail that plan, it can feel like a direct personal challenge to our autonomy, to our perceived ability to shape our own destiny.
And that helplessness is infuriating.
It's incredibly frustrating, precisely because it clashes so violently with that innate drive to control. Anger, in this specific scenario, might be an instinctive, almost primal attempt to reassert control.
Pushing back against reality.
Sort of pushing back against an unyielding reality. Even if it's ultimately a futile outburst against a situation that is fundamentally outside our direct command. It's the raw, visceral struggle against that uncomfortable truth. Much of life is simply beyond our immediate influence.
I think we've all been there. Think about being stuck in unexpected gridlock traffic when you're already running critically late for something important.
Yeah, the worst feeling.
You meticulously planned your route, you allowed ample time, and then bam, an accident, a sudden road closure, something totally out of your hands.
Yep, nothing you can do.
Or you're just about to hit send on a critical, time-sensitive project, and the whole system inexplicably crashes, wipes out your recent work.
Oh no, data gone.
Data gone. Or even something seemingly minor but incredibly irritating, like your coffee maker refusing to brew on a Monday morning when you're already running on fumes.
Don't mess with the coffee.
Right, that immediate burst of frustration, that hot flush of anger, it's often rooted directly in that sudden, unwelcome loss of control over your immediate environment, your schedule, or even just your basic ability to function as planned.
It's infuriating, precisely because you can't do anything about it in that moment. That helplessness is maddening.
Absolutely. Hashtag 1.4. The silent saboteurs, stress and fatigue. Okay, so sometimes the reasons we get angry are less about these big psychological clashes and more about simpler, yet really potent physical realities, stress and fatigue.
Yes, the physiological side is critical, often overlooked.
Our sources repeatedly point out a truth I think many of us know all too well. A tired mind and body simply lose patience much, much quicker.
It's like your fuse gets incredibly short.
Totally. It's like our internal emotional battery is running on fumes, and any small, unexpected drain can instantly trigger an overwhelming overload.
And what's profoundly fascinating here is the direct, undeniable physiological link between our physical state and our emotional reactivity. It's not just in our heads.
So it's biological.
Very much so. When we're chronically stressed or significantly sleep-deprived, our prefrontal cortex, that highly evolved executive part of the brain.
The rational part.
Yes, the part responsible for rational thought, complex decision-making, and crucially, emotional regulation and impulse control. It's literally compromised. It's not performing optimally. Its resources are depleted.
So the emotional brain takes over.
Instead, our more primitive emotional brain, specifically the amygdala within the limbic system, think of it as Our brain's emotional alarm center for fight or flight becomes more dominant and quicker to react.
Ah, okay.
This imbalance means we're biologically less resilient to minor annoyances. We're inherently more irritable and quicker to react impulsively with anger.
That makes so much sense.
It's a stark scientific reminder that self-care isn't just a luxury or some trendy buzzword. It's a fundamental, non-negotiable requirement for maintaining emotional well-being and effectively managing anger.
So sleep and managing stress directly impact our temper.
Absolutely. Without adequate rest and proactive stress management, our internal calm is significantly undermined. It leaves us vulnerable to what psychologists call emotional hijacking.
You can feel this so acutely, can't you?
Yeah.
Think of how short-fused you might feel after a really bad night's sleep, just tossing and turning.
Worried about the day ahead.
Yeah. Or consider the end of a particularly demanding, high-pressure week at work, where you've been burning the candle at both ends, just pushing yourself to the limit.
Totally depleted.
Exactly. And then small annoyances, a loud chewing sound from someone nearby, a slow internet connection freezing mid-task, a minor chore you forgot.
Things you normally brush off.
Right. Suddenly they feel monumental, disproportionately enraging. They loom large, triggering these explosive reactions of anger and frustration.
Simply because your entire system is too depleted to cope gracefully or rationally, your emotional reserves are completely gone.
It's a physical reality. Hashtag 1.5. The autopilot of habitual reaction. This next one really highlights how easily we can get stuck in these ingrained patterns, almost without realizing it. Habitual reaction.
The power of habit. It applies to emotions too.
Our sources suggest that some people become conditioned to respond with anger almost automatically because they have either seen it modeled for them repeatedly growing up,
Learned behavior.
or they've practiced that response themselves countless times. It literally becomes a default setting.
Like a deeply worn groove in the neural pathways of the brain. That's exactly right.
So it's like brain wiring.
If we connect this to the broader picture of neuroplasticity, how our brain changes based on experience and learned behavior, it speaks directly to how our brains get wired through repetition.
Okay.
Anger can indeed become an automatic default response if it's been consistently modeled for us during our formative years, maybe by parents, siblings, other key figures.
Or if it worked for us.
Or, more subtly, if we've, perhaps unconsciously, found it to be effective, even if unhealthy, maybe for getting attention, asserting dominance, or exerting influence in certain situations in the past.
So the brain learns. Anger gets results.
Over time, the brain literally wires itself to go down that familiar, easy path of an angry response. It forms strong neural connections.
Which makes it harder to choose something else.
Exactly. It makes it increasingly harder to choose a different, more constructive reaction without significant conscious effort and deliberate repatterning. It becomes an automatic, almost unconscious behavior, firing off before we even have a chance for conscious thought.
Like an ingrained, pre-programmed script just running in the background.
That's a good analogy.
You might recognize these patterns from your own childhood, perhaps observing a parent who always responded to stress or disappointment with an angry outburst, rather than, say, calm problem solving.
Or you see it in colleagues.
Or you observe it in a colleague who, like clockwork, reacts to pressure or a setback with immediate anger, seemingly without any thought process in between.
They've effectively trained themselves, through repetition and reinforcement, to react that way.
Creating a deeply etched pathway in their brains that makes anger their go-to emotion in challenging situations.
It's a powerful demonstration of how our past experiences and learned responses really do shape our present emotional landscape. Habit is powerful. Hashtag 1.6. Beneath the surface insecurity.
And sometimes anger is much, much more complex than it initially appears, isn't it? It can actually be a sophisticated mask.
Yes, anger is a secondary emotion, covering something else up.
Our source states clearly that insecurity is often hidden beneath the surface of anger. It frequently conceals deeper, more vulnerable feelings like fear, jealousy, or a profound sense of inadequacy.
So what we see as an angry outburst might actually be a protective facade, a defense mechanism.
Yeah, which raises a really important question.
What exactly is anger protecting when it manifests this way?
Right.
More often than not, it's a very vulnerable, exposed part of ourselves. Someone lashing out in anger might, at their core, be feeling acutely inadequate.
Or threatened.
Profoundly threatened by a situation they feel they can't control. Or perhaps consumed by deep-seated jealousy they can't admit to.
So anger pushes people away.
Anger, in such instances, can be a powerful psychological mechanism. It projects an image of strength, makes someone seem formidable, unapproachable.
And that deflects attention from the real feelings underneath.
Precisely. It deflects attention away from those uncomfortable underlying insecurities. It creates a psychological barrier, making it incredibly difficult for others to see the true vulnerability.
And prevents connection.
And in doing so, prevents genuine connection and intimacy. From an ego perspective, it's often simply easier and feels safer to be angry and push people away than to admit to feeling fear, inadequacy, or envy.
Because this can be perceived as weakness.
Exactly. Weakness the ego wants to hide.
That makes a lot of sense, and it really changes how you might interpret someone's outburst, doesn't it?
It offers a different lens.
Consider someone who becomes irrationally, disproportionately angry when their skills or competence are gently questioned, even in a constructive feedback session.
They blow up.
Their explosive outburst might not actually be about the feedback itself, but stem from a deep-seated fear of not being good enough, of being exposed as incompetent.
The anger protects that fear.
Or maybe someone who constantly criticizes others harshly, tearing down their achievements, their efforts.
Always finding fault.
Maybe it's not out of pure malice, but from a profound, unaddressed jealousy of those very accomplishments they're attacking.
The criticism masks the envy.
So the anger, in these cases, functions as a powerful smokescreen, a loud, distracting display that keeps others from seeing and potentially exploiting their own unaddressed feelings of not being enough or feeling threatened.
It's a very clever, albeit often destructive, defense mechanism. Clever in a psychological survival sense.
Right. Self-protective, but damaging. Hashtag tag 1.7. The cry for justice, perceived injustice. Finally, we arrive at a truly powerful trigger, and one that often feels righteous. Perceived injustice.
Yes, the fairness principle.
Yeah.
Deeply human.
This is a deeply ingrained one. When we feel that distinct, unsettling sensation that this is not fair, whether it's happening to us personally or to someone we care about or even a broader group, it can trigger an instant, potent surge of anger. It's not just a minor annoyance. It often feels like a violation of our deeply held moral code.
A challenge to our fundamental sense of what is right.
Exactly.
And this speaks to a fundamental aspect of our human wiring, our deep-seated drive for fairness and equity. We possess an almost innate sense of justice.
Like a moral compass.
Very much like a moral compass. It's been absolutely crucial for fostering social cohesion, cooperation, survival throughout human history.
So when we see unfairness,
when we perceive a violation of that principle, whether it's directly experiencing unfairness ourselves, maybe in a transaction, or witnessing someone being mistreated, or hearing about a discriminatory policy,
it sparks outrage.
It can provoke strong moral outrage. The anger here isn't solely personal or ego-driven. It's often driven by a broader ethical concern, a deep-seated demand for what is right.
But fairness can be subjective, can't it?
That's the challenge, of course. Fairness can often be profoundly subjective. What one person considers just, another might see as perfectly equitable, or even unfair in the opposite direction.
So our perception might not be the whole story.
Our perception might not always align with objective reality, yet the emotional impact, that deep-seated feeling of wrongness, is very real, incredibly potent.
And it can motivate us.
And it can be a powerful motivator for both constructive action, like activism, and sometimes destructive actions too, like uncontrolled rage.
You see this play out constantly, don't you? In everyday life, but also on a bigger scale.
All the time.
Witnessing someone brazenly cut a long queue, just completely disregarding everyone else waiting patiently.
Infuriating.
Or hearing about a new policy being enacted that clearly and unfairly disadvantages a certain group of people.
Systemic issues.
Or even just feeling like you've been unfairly treated in a negotiation where the terms were clearly skewed against you despite your best effort.
That sense of being cheated.
Yeah. That hot flash of indignation, that immediate rush of anger you feel, it's often a direct and powerful response to a perceived injustice, to the violation of your internal sense of what is right, fair, and honorable.
It feels wrong deep down.
And that profound feeling drives the anger, often compelling us to act in some way.
So we've peeled back these many intricate layers, haven't we, to understand the diverse yet common causes of anger.
Yeah, from our expectations, our ego,
to our physical state, stress, fatigue, and this deep sense of fairness.
But understanding the why, that's really only half the battle, isn't it?
It really is. Knowing why we get angry gives us invaluable insight, absolutely. But it doesn't automatically change our reactions in the heat of the moment.
Sometimes knowing why just makes you angrier about being angry.
That can happen too. Intellectualizing it can sometimes even perpetuate it if we're not careful.
Okay, so now
Let's pivot. Let's shift our focus squarely to the how. How can we move from these reactive, often destructive patterns to a place of greater calm, greater conscious control?
and ultimately, genuine inner peace.
That's the goal. Let's talk strategy.
That's absolutely right. Okay, now that we've mapped out that internal landscape of anger, really understanding its many complex roots,
The why.
our sources move into what you've really been waiting for. 10 practical, actionable ways to never get angry or bothered by people.
The how. The toolkit.
Exactly. And these aren't abstract philosophical concepts that are hard to apply. They are explicitly described as simple daily life strategies anyone can follow.
And that's incredibly empowering, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests that mastering calm isn't about achieving some unattainable state of zen or undergoing years of therapy necessarily.
Although therapy can certainly help.
Of course. But it suggests it's also about making small, consistent, conscious choices and practices.
Things you can do right now, turning them into powerful habits over time.
Right. Let's dive into these strategies. Hashtag 2.1, the power of the pause.
Okay.
Strategy number 1, it's deceptively simple. Sounds almost too simple, but it's profoundly effective, and it's one you can implement immediately. Pause before reacting.
Sacred pause. So fundamental.
Our material suggests something concrete, counting to 5 or maybe even 10 slowly in your mind before you reply or respond.
Just creating that tiny gap.
Yeah, this seemingly small, almost imperceptible pause, it argues, is your window of opportunity. It allows the logical, rational part of your brain
The prefrontal cortex.
to override the immediate, impulsive, often regrettable, emotional brain. It's literally giving your higher thinking a chance to catch up and engage.
And this is so powerful precisely because it creates that crucial neurological and psychological space, a micro moment between the trigger, whatever sets you off, and your automatic habitual response. If we connect this to the deeper neuroscience, it leverages our brain's fundamental architecture, a concept called response inhibition.
Inhibiting the first impulse.
Exactly. The initial intense emotional response originates rapidly in the limbic system, especially the amygdala, that older reactive part of our brain built for quick threat detection.
Fight or flight kicks in.
Right. But that short pause, that mental count to 5, it allows the prefrontal cortex, our rational thinking center, our executive control system, to fully engage.
It buys time.
It gives you precious milliseconds to process the information, to consider alternatives, and most importantly, to choose your reaction, rather than just letting an automatic, often regrettable one take over.
So it's about intentionality.
It's about cultivating intentionality. Actively deciding how you want to respond, instead of being a slave to that initial, often destructive impulse. This tiny delay can literally reroute your emotional pathway in that moment.
Wow, rerouting a neural pathway in real time. That's powerful.
It is.
And you can put this into practice immediately, can't you? Imagine you receive that sharp, accusatory email from a colleague that just instantly gets your blood boiling.
Yep, fingers hovering over the keyboard.
Ready to fire back. Or someone makes a particularly provoking, maybe unfair comment during a meeting or a family gathering, and you feel that familiar heat rising in your chest.
Yeah, that internal pressure building.
Instead of typing that immediate fiery retort or snapping back with an equally sharp defensive comment, you just mentally count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Maybe take a quiet breath.
Yeah, take a quick, silent, conscious breath. And you'll often find that initial surge of heat, that raw, unthinking impulse, it just dissipates enough.
Just enough breathing room.
Enough to let you consider a more measured, more effective, and ultimately far less damaging reply. It's such a small act, but it yields enormous control over your emotional destiny in that moment.
Small pause, big impact. Hashtag take 2.2. The art of reframe.
Okay, next up, our sources offer a profoundly powerful cognitive shift. This is about changing how you think about the situation, and it can instantly diffuse anger, reframe the situation.
Cognitive reframing, a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy, actually.
Yeah.
Very effective.
Instead of defaulting to that self-centered, often accusatory interpretation like, he insulted me, try intentionally thinking maybe he is stressed, not me.
Shifting the focus off yourself.
Yeah, this seemingly simple shift in perspective, the source suggests, immediately reduces that feeling of personal hurt and vulnerability. It shifts the perceived blame from yourself to a more neutral observation about the other person.
And what's truly fascinating here is that immediate, almost magical shift away from personalization, that tendency we have to make everything about us and our ego towards empathy.
Seeing it from their side, potentially.
Actively considering the other person's internal state? Yes. When we consciously reframe, we're essentially employing cognitive restructuring. We're challenging our initial, often ego-driven interpretation of events.
So we ask ourselves, what else could be going on?
Exactly. This raises an important question. What alternative perspectives or external factors could genuinely explain the other person's behavior? By actively considering they might be acting out of stress, fatigue, personal struggles, or even a misunderstanding totally unrelated to us.
We detach their actions from our feelings.
We effectively detach their actions from our personal worth. We transform what we initially perceived as a direct attack or insult into a more neutral observation of their current state or circumstances.
So it disarms the anger trigger.
It's a powerful cognitive shift that disarms the anger trigger because it moves the focus away from our wounded ego and towards a broader, more compassionate understanding. Now, this doesn't excuse bad behavior.
Right, it's not about letting them off the hook.
No, but it stops their behavior from taking root as anger within you. You protect your own peace.
This is such a liberating technique because it gives you agency over your emotional response, regardless of what someone else does.
You take back the power.
Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off aggressively, swerving dangerously close, forcing you to slam on the brakes.
Heart pounds, knuckles white.
Yeah. Your first immediate thought might be seething anger at their recklessness, their rudeness, their disregard for your safety.
Totally understandable reaction.
But reframing would be to immediately consider, okay, wait, perhaps they are rushing to an emergency at the hospital, an urgent medical situation?
Or maybe just having a terrible day.
Or maybe they're just having an incredibly terrible day, completely overwhelmed by something I know absolutely nothing about.
This doesn't excuse their dangerous driving.
No, safety is still paramount.
But it instantly shifts the focus away from you as the target of their aggression, and suddenly, the anger loses its intense personal sting. It becomes less about you and more about observing another person's potential struggle or just their bad moment, which is far less triggering and much more conducive to maintaining your own calm.
Less personal attack, more observation. I like that. Hashtag tag 2.3. The freedom of lowered expectations.
Okay, this next one might sound counterintuitive at first glance, maybe even a bit pessimistic to some, but our sources suggest it's actually incredibly liberating. Lower your expectations.
The expectation management piece. This often raises eyebrows, but it's powerful.
It advises us to accept, maybe as a fundamental truth about the world, that people will often disappoint us. They might sometimes lie, or they will simply be rude or thoughtless.
Accepting imperfection, basically.
Yeah. The core idea is brilliantly simple. When you genuinely expect less from others, you inherently suffer less when they inevitably don't meet your lofty, often unrealistic internal standards.
It's not about becoming cynical, though. That's a key distinction.
Right. It's not about expecting the worst from everyone, but about building an emotional buffer. Precisely. If we connect this to the broader picture of human psychology, it's not about adopting a negative outlook on humanity. Rather, it's about embracing a more realistic and ultimately more compassionate view of human nature.
Including its flaws.
Including its inherent imperfections and biases. It's about releasing the immense burden of perfection and absolute predictability that we often unconsciously place upon others.
That feels like a weight off, just saying it.
It is. This profound shift in mindset allows us to be pleasantly surprised when people actually do exceed our adjusted expectations.
Instead of being constantly let down.
Exactly. Rather than being constantly let down, frustrated, and angry when they inevitably act imperfectly, which they will because they are human, just like us.
It fosters more acceptance.
It fosters a much greater sense of acceptance for human fallibility. And interestingly, it often extends that same acceptance to our own imperfections, which is a key component of inner peace and self-compassion.
That's a nice side effect. So it's like wise hope.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Wise hope. Hoping for the best. Being open to positive interactions, but preparing for the reality of human inconsistency without letting it derail you emotionally.
Okay, that distinction helps avoid the cynicism trap. It sounds like a proactive shield for your emotional well-being then.
It really is.
Instead of walking into every interaction expecting perfect honesty, unwavering consideration, harmonious outcomes,
Setting yourself up for disappointment.
you subtly adjust your internal barometer to account for the messy, unpredictable reality of human behavior. So when a colleague makes an obvious mistake that impacts your workflow, or someone you encounter is less than polite, or even outright rude,
It doesn't sting as much.
right, it doesn't send you spiraling into anger because you've already factored in the very real possibility of human error, imperfection, or just someone having a bad day.
You're not blindsided by it emotionally.
And therefore, you're not as deeply affected. It allows you to react with maybe more patience or at least less intense anger.
Exactly. More measured response, less internal suffering. Hashtag 2.4, the wisdom of detachment.
Our sources suggest another powerful mental exercise for cultivating calm. This one feels like it draws from some ancient philosophical traditions. Practice detachment.
Yes, echoes of Stoicism and Eastern philosophies here. Very practical wisdom.
It provides a brilliant, simple, and immediately applicable question to ask yourself when irritation or anger starts to bubble up.
What's the question?
Will this truly matter after 1 week? How about after 1 year?
The time perspective shift. Powerful.
The implication is clear and profoundly liberating. If the honest answer is probably not or definitely no, then it's a strong, undeniable signal to just let it go, release its grip on your emotional state right now.
And this raises an important question, doesn't it? About the long-term cost of allowing short-term anger to consume us.
What's the price we pay?
Exactly. It's essentially an exercise in gaining vital perspective and strategically prioritizing your mental and emotional energy. Our capacity for emotional engagement, for distress, it's finite. It's a precious resource.
You only have so much bandwidth.
Precisely. So why should we invest significant emotional capital, our peace of mind, our internal harmony, our focus, into something that is ultimately fleeting and utterly inconsequential in the grand scheme of our lives?
It seems wasteful when you put it like that.
This practice encourages us to objectively distinguish between truly important challenges that genuinely warrant our sustained attention and effort,
The big stuff.
and the vast number of minor, everyday annoyances that simply don't deserve our precious peace of mind. It's a pragmatic, almost economic approach to emotional resource allocation.
Spend your emotional currency wisely.
Exactly. Ensuring you spend it on what genuinely matters rather than squandering it on transient irritations that will be forgotten tomorrow.
You can apply this everywhere, truly in almost any situation. Imagine you have a minor disagreement with a family member over something trivial who left the lights on, maybe. Or a slight misunderstanding about a casual comment made during dinner.
Everyday friction.
Or a stranger makes a sarcastic remark in passing that momentarily pricks your ego. Or a small technical glitch at work causes a momentary but frustrating delay in your progress.
Annoying in the moment.
Very. But when you project the importance and memory of these incidents into the future, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year from now, you almost immediately realize their utter insignificance.
They just vanish.
They won't be remembered, they won't impact your life in any meaningful way, so why allow them to steal your precious peace now?
It puts things in perspective instantly.
This simple question offers a powerful, immediate antidote to getting caught up in those fleeting irritations and allows you to reclaim your emotional energy for things that actually matter.
Perspective is everything. Hashtag 2.5. The humor shield.
Okay, this is a fun one and surprisingly effective, maybe even a true game changer for some people. Use humor as a shield.
The power of laughter. Don't underestimate it.
Our sources encourage us to find the capacity to laugh internally, maybe just a little chuckle to ourselves, at people's foolishness, their absurdities, or even their unintentional slights.
Instead of taking it all so personally and gravely.
Exactly. Instead of taking them gravely seriously. The premise is deeply psychological. Humor, in its very nature, has an almost magical ability to dissolve anger and tension.
It's like a secret, powerful weapon against irritation that you always carry with you. A mental tool.
I like that. A secret weapon.
And what's profoundly fascinating here is humor's incredible, almost instantaneous ability to change our physiological and psychological state.
How does it work?
Well, laughter, even internal silent laughter, is a powerful, well-documented stress reliever. It releases endorphins, reduces stress hormones like cortisol, and physically relaxes tension in the body and mind.
Okay, so physical benefits too.
Definitely. But more than that, it radically shifts our cognitive perspective. It makes situations that initially seem threatening, frustrating, or personally offensive suddenly appear less significant, more absurd, maybe even comedic.
You see the ridiculous side.
Exactly. It creates a vital emotional distance between you and the trigger, allowing you to see the ridiculous or ludicrous aspect rather than just its annoying or infuriating side.
So it deflects the negativity.
It's a powerful deflector of negative energy. It transforms potential anger into amusement, which is a far healthier, more pleasant, and less damaging emotion to experience. It's a form of cognitive reappraisal in action, finding a lighter interpretation.
It's all about finding that inner chuckle, isn't it? That little spark of amusement.
Seeing the absurdity.
Imagine someone is having an absolutely over-the-top, dramatically theatrical reaction to something incredibly minor, maybe a misplaced set of keys, a slight change in lunch plans, a trivial inconvenience.
We've all seen it.
Instead of getting drawn into their drama, feeling that frustration and letting it infect you,
Which is so easy to do.
you find yourself internally chuckling at the sheer theatricality, the disproportionate response of it all. You're not being dismissive of their feelings necessarily, but you're consciously choosing not to let their emotional state become your own.
You create that boundary.
That internal laugh instantly lightens your own emotional load. It creates a powerful buffer that protects your calm and prevents you from being swept into their vortex of negativity.
Humor as a shield.
Yeah.
It works. Hashtag 2.6. The breathing trick.
Okay, a classic for a very good reason, and it's consistently included in our sources for its immediate effectiveness. The breathing trick.
Can't talk about calm without talking about breath. It's foundational.
When anger starts to rise, when you feel that familiar internal heat, that tension building, the advice is simply to take 3 to 5 slow, deep breaths. The rationale is scientifically straightforward, apparently.
It really is. Increased oxygen, delivered consciously and deeply, instantly calms the nervous system. That system is in significant overdrive during moments of anger and perceived threat.
So it's a physiological reset.
Exactly. If we connect this to the broader picture of our autonomic nervous system regulation, deep breathing directly activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Parasympathetic, that's the calming one.
That's the one. It's responsible for the body's rest and digest response. It's specifically designed to bring you back to a state of calm, back to homeostasis.
And it counteracts the stress response.
It directly counteracts the fight or flight response, which is triggered by anger, stress, perceived threats that's mediated by the sympathetic nervous system.
So deep breaths switch gears internally?
Precisely. By consciously taking those deep breaths, really engaging your diaphragm, making the exhale longer than the inhale, you effectively reduce your heart rate, lower your blood pressure.
Wow.
And you send a clear physiological signal to your brain saying, okay, we're safe. The perceived threat is not an emergency right now.
So the brain gets the message to chill out.
This physiological shift, which happens rapidly, allows for clearer thought and helps disengage the emotional brain, the amygdala, enabling immediate self-regulation. It's a powerful on-the-spot intervention you can access anywhere, anytime. No one even needs to know you're doing it.
That's amazing. And you can feel this physical change almost immediately, can't you? The shift happening within your own body.
You really can if you pay attention.
You feel that familiar heat rising in your chest, maybe your jaw clenching, shoulders tensing, muscles tightening up in response to some irritating situation or a provoking comment.
The body's bracing itself.
Instead of speaking that angry thought or reacting impulsively, you consciously take those 3 to 5 slow, deliberate, deep breaths in gently through the nose, extending the exhale slowly through the mouth.
Feeling the air move.
You can literally feel your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your entire body physically relax a notch with each exhale. It's not just a mental trick. It's a profound physiological reset.
It breaks the cascade.
Yeah, it helps you regain composure, breaks that emotional cascade, and allows you to think before you react, protecting your internal peace. So simple, so effective.
Never underestimate the power of the breath. Hashtag 2.7. The physical walkaway.
Sometimes the most effective and often, frankly, the wisest strategy for preserving your calm is just simple logistics. Walk away physically.
Create physical distance. Absolutely crucial sometimes.
Our sources universally advise that if it's at all possible, you should just remove yourself from the immediate vicinity for a little while.
Take a break from the trigger.
The profound logic here is that physical distance inherently grants you perspective, both literally and figuratively. It allows you to regain control of your emotional landscape when things get too heated.
And this raises an important point about the profound influence of environmental triggers on our emotional state, doesn't it?
The space itself matters.
Definitely. Physically removing yourself from a tense, anger-provoking, or escalating situation is incredibly effective because it immediately breaks that direct cycle of negative interaction and overwhelming sensory input.
Stops the back and forth.
Exactly. It provides both geographical and psychological distance, allowing those intense, immediate emotions to cool down and dissipate naturally.
A cooling off period.
That cooling off period is absolutely vital. It enables a more rational, less emotionally charged assessment of the situation to emerge when you're ready. And, crucially, it prevents escalation.
Stops things from getting worse.
So many arguments, especially highly emotional ones, spiral completely out of control simply because neither person is willing or able to disengage and create that necessary space for calm reflection.
So walking away isn't weakness.
Absolutely not. Walking away is not a sign of retreat or weakness. It's a strategic, powerful move to regain control of your emotions and prevent further damage to yourself or the relationship. It allows you to re-engage later, if necessary.
From a place of calm.
From a place of calm strength, not reactivity.
Think about it. An argument starts escalating with a family member, voices are rising, maybe insults are starting to fly, tempers visibly flaring.
Heading into the red zone.
Or a frustrating situation at work feels utterly overwhelming, making you just want to scream or lash out at your computer or a colleague.
We've all felt that pressure cooker feeling.
In these moments, you can simply excuse yourself. You know what? I need a quick coffee break. Or I just need to get some air for a minute.
Or even just, let's pause this. Let's take 5 minutes and come back.
Yeah. Even just a few minutes of stepping away, going to another room, taking a short walk outside, that can give you the vital space you need to clear your head, regain your composure,
Reset yourself.
and approach the situation again with a calmer, more constructive mindset, if and when you choose to re-engage. It's a fundamental act of self-preservation, really, protecting your own state.
Strategic retreat for the win. Hashtag 2.8. Channel energy into action.
Okay, instead of letting anger just fester internally, which we know can be incredibly destructive to our mental and physical health,
Ruminating just makes it worse.
our sources suggest a highly productive redirection. Channel energy into action.
Use that energy for something good.
It advises that instead of engaging in an unproductive argument, or stewing in resentment, or replaying grievances endlessly in your head,
That mental hamster wheel.
you can do something constructive. This could be engaging in vigorous physical exercise, writing down your thoughts and feelings in a journal, or maybe calling a supportive friend for a different perspective.
Any positive outlet.
The core idea is that it actively burns off that intense negative emotional energy. It converts it into something beneficial rather than letting it poison you.
And what's truly fascinating here is the psychological transformation involved. You're turning potentially destructive emotional energy into productive output.
Like emotional alchemy.
That's a great term for it. Anger is an incredibly powerful, high-energy emotion. It generates a significant amount of internal physiological arousal and mental agitation.
You feel keyed up.
Exactly. When we channel that intense energy into physical activity, like a brisk walk, a run, hitting the gym, even cleaning the house vigorously,
Their creative expression.
or into creative expression like journaling, playing an instrument, painting, writing, or even tackling a challenging work task that requires focus. We're not simply suppressing the anger.
You're redirecting.
We're actively redirecting it, giving it a healthy, constructive outlet that is far more beneficial than allowing it to simmer internally or explode inappropriately.
And what are the benefits?
This redirection can lead to immediate stress relief. Sometimes it even leads to problem-solving insights as the mind clears through movement or focused activity, or just a satisfying sense of accomplishment.
So you replace the negative loop.
You replace the negative feedback loop of anger and rumination with a positive, empowering one, moving you towards a more constructive, balanced emotional state. It's using the energy, not being used by it.
So after a particularly frustrating phone call where you felt completely unheard or disrespected,
Fuming inside.
instead of replaying the conversation endlessly in your head and just fueling your anger, you could immediately lace up your shoes and go for a brisk walk around the block, maybe put on some loud, empowering music.
Burn it off physically.
Or if you're stuck at your desk, you could grab a notebook and just furiously jot down all your feelings, stream of consciousness style, until the intensity subsides.
Get it out of your head and onto the page.
Yeah, you're effectively using that heightened emotional energy for a purposeful activity, converting something negative into something that contributes directly to your well-being or even provides surprising clarity on the situation later.
productive release. Much healthier. Hashtag tag 2.9, the power of a mantra.
Our sources also offer a powerful internal tool for actively managing anger and reclaiming that inner peace, especially in the moment. Repeat a mantra.
A mental anchor, very effective for refocusing the mind.
It suggests that a short, calming line, something simple like, peace begins with me, or I choose calm, can act as a mental circuit breaker, like an internal stop button.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Effectively breaking the anger loop that often takes over our thoughts and emotions when we get triggered.
So how does that work psychologically?
Well, if we connect this to the broader picture of cognitive psychology and mindfulness practices, mantras are a recognized and potent form of self-talk and affirmation. They can profoundly help rewire our internal dialogue and our habitual thought patterns over time.
Retraining the brain.
In a sense, yes. In moments when anger is visibly rising, when your mind feels hijacked by those negative thoughts, ruminations, and impulsive urges, a consciously chosen mantra acts as a mental anchor. It pulls your attention away from that spiraling negative thought pattern and consciously redirects your focus toward a desired emotional state, like calm or peace.
So it's an active choice.
It's an active self-soothing, a powerful tool for what's called cognitive diffusion, separating yourself from your thoughts. And it's a clear declaration of intent. It reminds you that you have inherent agency over your internal landscape.
You're choosing your state.
It's about actively choosing to cultivate calm, even in the midst of internal turmoil, rather than being passively consumed by the anger. It reclaims your mental space from the negative thought.
And this is something you can use discreetly, anytime, anywhere, right? It's like an invisible shield.
Totally invisible, always available.
When you feel your patience wearing thin in a challenging meeting, or maybe while waiting in a frustratingly long queue, feeling that familiar irritation creeping in,
That internal simmer.
you quietly and internally repeat your chosen phrase. I choose calm, or perhaps, peace begins with me, whatever resonates.
Simple, repetitive focus.
This simple, repetitive mental exercise allows the mantra to center your thoughts, to maybe drown out the noise of rising irritation, and effectively prevent an automatic, regrettable outburst.
It's a silent guardian of your inner peace, a personal affirmation of your chosen emotional state in that moment.
I like that silent guardian. Hashtag tag 2.20, see people as teachers. Okay, this last one offers a truly profound shift in perspective. It feels like it fundamentally reframes how we interact with challenging individuals. See people as teachers.
This is a powerful reframe. It takes practice, but the payoff is huge.
Our sources urge us to treat every irritating person we encounter, every frustrating interaction, not as an antagonist or a burden,
Not as an enemy.
but as a trainer who is actively testing our patience, our resilience, our emotional control, like they're giving us a workout.
A difficult but valuable workout.
This transformative mindset turns a potentially damaging, anger-provoking situation into an invaluable opportunity for genuine self-growth, rather than leading to self-damage through unchecked anger.
And this raises an important, almost philosophical question.
Yeah.
How can we fundamentally flip a negative, anger-provoking interaction into a genuine growth opportunity?
How do we make that switch?
It's about shifting from a state of victimhood, where you feel passively acted upon by others' annoying or frustrating behavior, to a powerful sense of agency.
Taking charge of your own development.
Exactly. Where you are an active participant in your own emotional development. Every challenging person, every frustrating situation, then becomes a personal opportunity to consciously practice these very strategies we've been discussing today.
So they're giving you homework.
In a way, it's a chance to strengthen your emotional resilience, to deepen your understanding of yourself and your specific triggers, and to hone your ability to respond thoughtfully, rather than just react impulsively.
Like mental martial arts.
That's a fantastic analogy. It's like a mental martial art, where every sparring partner, no matter how irritating or difficult they seem, actually helps you become stronger, more skilled, and more adept at maintaining your inner calm and composure under pressure.
So obstacles become stepping stones.
This perspective literally transforms obstacles into stepping stones for personal mastery. It flips the script entirely.
It truly changes everything. A particularly demanding client who constantly moves the goalposts and seems impossible to please.
Draining your energy.
Or a consistently critical family member who seems to specialize in pushing all your buttons.
They know just where to poke.
They become less of a relentless source of stress and more of a personal challenge, a chance to level up.
Exactly. Each interaction transforms into a workout for your emotional muscles.
So you get to practice patience.
Practice reframing their behavior.
Practice emotional detachment.
You're no longer just passively enduring them. You're actively using them as catalysts for your own personal and emotional development, making you stronger, wiser, and more emotionally resilient with every single test.
Turning annoyance into advancement. I love it.
And what's truly powerful about these 10 strategies, really, is that they are not isolated tactics to be applied in a vacuum.
They work together.
They are interconnected tools that, when practiced holistically, build emotional resilience in a profound way. They move us from merely reacting, being at the mercy of our impulses and external triggers, to consciously choosing our response.
Taking back control.
This fundamental transformation allows us to turn potentially damaging moments of anger and frustration into invaluable opportunities for profound personal growth and ultimately a deeper, more enduring inner peace.
Peace that's less dependent on what happens outside.
Exactly. It's about empowering yourself from within, building that inner fortress of calm. #outro.
Wow. So we've really journeyed through the intricate causes of anger today, haven't we?
We covered a lot of ground.
From the common pitfalls of unmet expectations and those sensitive ego clashes.
To the physiological impact of stress and fatigue.
And that deep-seated impulse to react to perceived injustice, we unpacked the why.
And then we armed ourselves with 10 incredibly practical, actionable strategies, the how.
Yeah, we explored the power of that simple pause, the profound wisdom of reframing situations.
The liberating freedom that comes with carefully adjusting our expectations.
The strategic use of humor as a shield, and even that transformative shift of seeing irritating people as our personal emotional teachers.
A full toolkit for calm.
Definitely.
And the crucial takeaway from this deep dive, I think, is a powerful, liberating one.
Yeah.
You're not just a passive recipient of anger. It doesn't just happen to you.
You have agency.
You possess an immense, often untapped capacity to influence and regulate your own emotional state. These strategies, when you practice them consistently with intention,
They give you back control.
they give you back profound control, allowing you to consciously choose calm over chaos, inner peace over perturbation, even when external circumstances might seem to dictate otherwise.
So you become the architect of your own emotional landscape.
Beautifully put. Mastering your internal reactions regardless of the external world.
So as you go about your day, maybe trying out some of these strategies, perhaps choosing just one or two to focus on first, integrating them into those moments of irritation.
Start small, be consistent.
Consider this provocative thought. What if the biggest challenge to your peace and calm isn't really them out there or the situation itself, but rather your reaction to them?
Turning the focus inward.
Yeah. And what unexpected freedom, what profound sense of unshakable control might you truly discover when you really master that reaction, shifting from that unconscious impulse to a conscious, deliberate choice.
Something powerful to ponder.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We sincerely hope these insights empower you on your path to mastering calm and navigating the world with, well, greater ease, grace, and inner strength.
Take care out there.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into what truly makes you, well, you.